चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं. So अभी yesterday we studied about the French defeat, right? That the French were completely defeated and they were thrown out by the Britishers. Now today I want to ask you all, why do you think that the French got defeated? What were the reasons? Now before jumping on to answer the question, first analytically think, what did the French do wrong? First, ego. Okay, first was the ego. They thought we are entering into a European war. Internationally also we are fighting with the Britishers. In India also some of the princely state rulers are on our side. And the first two Carnatic wars, basically the French had the upper hand, right? So first point why they got defeated was their ego. They thought, okay, hum last आए हैं, we are the last to enter India, and we are the last to trade in India, but we still have the upper hand because some of the Indian princely state rulers are with us, and the princely state rulers are fighting amongst each other, so we can take better advantage of the situation. तो इस वजह से फ्रेंच का ईगो बढ़ गया एंड ब्रिटिशर्स के अगेंस्ट उनको लगा कि हमारा अपर हैंड है, हम उनको हरा सकते हैं, खदेड़ सकते हैं. फर्स्ट टू कार्नाटिक वॉर्स में भी उनका अपर हैंड था. इन द फर्स्ट टू कार्नाटिक वॉर्स आल्सो दे हैड द अपर हैंड. दैट इज व्हाई दे गॉट ईगोइस्टिक. And because of ego, what happens? Our strategy and planning fails. Just like the UPSC exam. In the UPSC exam also, if we are scoring very good in the test series, in the mock test, or if we are clearing prelims most of the times, somewhere or the other, we develop this ego कि next time also, चलो mains नहीं हुआ, but next time also we'll be clearing prelims at least. But होता क्या है? When the student develops an ego कि next time also we'll be clearing prelims, we should focus only on mains. That is the point, that is the time when they fail in prelims. Okay, so same thing happens with the French. तो यहाँ पर first हो गया ego, ये तो मैंने आपको बता दिया. This is my reason. कि first was the ego. Now if the interview board asks you, क्योंकि interview में ना any question they can ask. You cannot be confident कि यहीं से question आएगा. Only they will look at the DAF and ask the question. They can ask from anywhere, and I have a personal experience in that. That is why I'm telling you. So they can ask you anything, जो भी उनके दिमाग में click कर रहा होगा, whatever is clicking in their mind. So if they ask you, why do you think, yes, we know French got defeated, why do you think that the French got defeated? You will not give a bookish, crammed answer. रट्टा रटाया answer देने मत बैठना, because they will catch you. They are much more experienced in age also and work-wise also. So what do you think why French got defeated? In the comment section, any one reason. I will give you time to think about it, at least 3 minutes. Think about it and then tell me in the comment section why the French got defeated by the Britishers. Think about it. Consider that you are sitting in the interview boardroom and I am asking you the question. Okay, Ashok is saying they had more money as they were better traders compared to the Britishers. All right. Sorry, Britishers as compared to the French. Vatsalya is saying constant wars with respect to world history. So warfare skills got developed, right, Vatsalya? Ishwar Kumar is saying better military supremacy. Same thing. Okay, very good. Ashok is saying great relations with Indian rulers. Yes, because they came way back in 1600. So relations got developed. Very good. Rishabh, what's your point? Any one point that's coming to your mind. अगर same भी है वो भी बता दो. अगर same है इन ऊपर में किसी point से. ठीक है. Stable home governance. Very good. Participate in the class, everyone, because you also participate in the class. Give any point, whether it's stupid also, give the point. It will develop your confidence. And if you don't know the answer, just write in the comment section. If you are having no thoughts, just write in the comment section, ki, I am doubtful about this question or about my thoughts. Because if you say this, if you have no answer in the interview boardroom, and if you say, sir, I am, or ma'am, I am doubtful about my own thoughts, they will understand and they will respect your honesty. Good understanding of Indian subcontinent, same point, very good. ठीक है, Rishabh is saying good understanding of Indian subcontinent. Okay, very good reasons. First thing is, Rishabh said, and Ashok also said, they came way back in 1600. French came to at the end. Britishers came way back in 1600. So they had better relations with the Mughal emperors. Plus, they understood the mindset of Indian people way better than the French people. They had an upper hand in understanding the mentality of Indians also. The French, they had lack of understanding of the Indian rulers, their relationships, their way of thinking, because Indian rulers used to think, the princely state rulers used to think more in terms of power, authority, respect, glam, fame, etc. They wanted a glamorous lifestyle, and the Britishers copied their lifestyle way back in Britain. For example, Robert Clive. It is said Robert Clive was very much influenced by the lifestyle of the Mughal emperors. So he started calling himself Nabob. You can write it down. Indian princely state rulers were known as Nawabs. The British rulers or the officials, the high in command, were known as Nabobs. Because obviously accent problems, so Nawab became Nabob. Okay, so they used to call themselves, and Robert Clive was the first one to call himself Nabob. He used to live a lifestyle of a Mughal emperor way back in Britain. He looted India along with other officials. He also made his own private trade, his own private money. He took all the money, and there were corruption charges on him way back in Britain. He was charged for corruption because of his lifestyle, lavish lifestyle, grand lifestyle. So they understood everything, how the mindset of the Mughal rulers or the Indian princely state rulers, the Rajputs, the Sikhs, the Marathas work, how they think. That is why it was easy for them to influence the Indian rulers, and also that influence worked in their favor in the war against the French. They had advanced warfare techniques, very good point, because they had been in India since 1600, and they had been waging wars also since 1600, not just in India but outside also. Battle of Plasse was there, Battle of Buxar was there. We'll discuss all these battles. Subsidiary alliances, doctrine of lapse, all these tactical thinking, the Britishers had developed it way back in the 1700 or the 1800s. So the French, they were new in this game. They came as traders. Then they thought that our competitors are getting involved in the politics also. So they also jumped without the prior knowledge of Indian politics. Constant wars, warfare skills got developed, same thing. Britishers were engaged in constant tactical wars, not just violent physical wars, mind games with the Indian leaders. And that is why their skills got more sharpened and developed. Better military supremacy, that is also correct. The navy routes, the sea routes, the navy warfare skills, the Britishers were more equipped than the French. So first is the ego of the French. Second is again the points given by Ashok and Rishabh and Vatsalya. Ishwar. Ishwar also gave this point, better military supremacy, right? And more tactical thinking on the part of the British governor generals or governors. Now, another important point is that the French, when they came to India, they jumped on to creating more and more factories and trading points, trading posts, because they wanted to outshine the Britishers. Because of that, their resources were indulged or engaged in all these factories, warehouses, and trading posts. And because of lack of resources, their military, you can say, superiority or technologies, the advanced technologies, they got a, you can say, a down hand, यानी कि पीछे पुश होता चला गया उनका मिलिट्री इन्वेस्टमेंट, क्योंकि इन्वेस्टमेंट ज्यादा से ज्यादा ट्रेड में था. मोर इन्वेस्टमेंट got involved in the trading part initially. That is why lack of resources were there when it comes to the military skills or the warfare supremacy. So here you can write over up, opening up different fronts by the French, for example, in India, for example, in Europe, for example, in North America. It led to more investment in trading / manufacturing and less investment into warfare skill development. Warfare skill development. आगे लिख लो, स्पेस नहीं है. Skill development. This is the 5th point. यहां तक सबने नोट कर लिया तो बताना. I'll rub off the screen. Let me know in the chat section if you have written it down. Rishabh is saying done. Vatsalya done. Ashok done. Ishwar, Vikas, Amritansh, Shivakant, let me know if you are done. And ho sake to please switch on your videos also so that I can see if all of you are writing, not sleeping. Done everyone? Shivakant is saying done. Ishwar is saying done. Amritansh, have you noted it down? 5 points we have written so far. Amritansh, Vikas done. Okay. Please turn on your videos, everyone. Okay, done everyone. Chalo. Just give me a second. I'll open up another screen then. No, only this first slide you have missed. We were just studying why French got defeated by Britishers. These were the reasons why French ultimately got outshined by the Britishers, why they were overthrown by the Britishers, and these points have been given by the students themselves by analyzing the situation between the British and the French. Okay, first Raju Kumar Mandal has also joined this lesson. I'll be revising what we have studied so far. So we know that the French got defeated, outshined by the Britishers. First reason was their ego. They came last. They wanted to do everything in just one go. They wanted to be good traders, excellent rulers, etc. And they wanted to compete with the Britishers. They were basically rivals of the Britishers. 7-year Austrian succession war was going on. That is why they had developed this rivalry with the Britishers. So first, the reason why they got lost or why they got defeated, it was the ego. The egos basically started rising. The French thought we are already, fighting a good, huge war in Europe. So India is a very small continent and we are going to win it like that. So ego bad gaya. Second reason was that the Britishers were in India since 1600, right? So they had good relations with the Indian rulers. They understood the mindset, the political tactic, the emotional tactic that they have to play to win over India as one of their colonies. Plus, they had stable home governance in India, right? They had been ruling or indirectly ruling, very subtly ruling India since the 1700s. They had good understanding of Indian subcontinent, the territories. Bengal mein to they had established themselves since the Battle of Plassey, right? So they had good understanding of the territories, boundaries, even the mountainous regions, the watery regions, the Western Ghats or the Eastern Ghats. The subcontinental understanding was clear and good, which the French did not have because they were the last Europeans to come to India. Constant wars. They were indulged in constant wars with India also, the Indian rulers also, small princely state rulers, because of which they had an upper hand in the warfare skills, what is required to win over India as a colonial, territory. And that is why they had better military supremacy because military skills got developed with the time. When you are engaged in something, consistently you are doing it, you get better understanding of that particular topic or that particular area in which you are, putting consistent efforts. And the French, the fifth reason is the French were, because they were the last one to come. They wanted everything at once. लास्ट आए थे, लगा था आ गए हैं, अब जैसे तैसे इन ब्रिटिशर्स को निकाल के खुद को जमाना है, जस्ट वी वांट टू एस्टैब्लिश आवरसेल्फ एट एनी कॉस्ट. सो इन हेस्ट, इन हरी, they started opening up different factories, ports, not just in India but in Europe, in North America. They wanted to establish themselves over the Britishers. ठीक है? And that is why they invested heavily in trading, manufacturing, business. That is why there was lack of investment in the warfare skills or in the military skills. That is also one of the reasons why military supremacy was lacking in French when we compare them to the Britishers. Okay, so Amritansh and Raju and Ishwar, everything is done because point is clear. Point clear हो गया यहाँ तक सभी को? तो मुझे जल्दी से बताओ chat section में, then I'll erase it. ठीक है, चलो यहाँ तक point clear है सबका. So sixth reason हो जाएगा that the French, you can create these short notes flowchart so that it will help you in the revision finally. The French basically failed to understand. They failed to understand. You can add it in the previous reason. Failed to understand the complex political situations. The complex political situations in India. India में ना problem क्या है? What's the problem in India? We don't play by political tactics purely. We play by emotions also. We are run by emotions also. India is one such country, one such nation where mostly we are run by emotions, right? In Western countries, if you will see, they are much more practical than the Indians. I'm not talking about every Indian. I'm talking about, average. We are taking the average of all the people in India. We are run by emotions, especially when it comes to voting. Right? We vote by emotions. We don't, not all of us vote practically. Some of us or most of the Indians, especially in the rural areas, we vote by emotions. तभी तो हमारे ministers खाना खाने चले जाते हैं घरों में, तो फिर वहीं उसी के जो लोग हैं वो उसी minister के हो जाते हैं. I'll give you a personal example why I say that we are run by emotions. Now, when we talk about emotions, if you'll see the population in India, not everyone is literate or not everyone has achieved their graduation degree. Okay, very few. When it comes to the population of India, very few of us have been literate spiritually, emotionally, and academically also. So abhi thode din pehle, few days ago, there is a small slum few kilometers away from where I live. And I thought, why not, just because I was not having the peace of mind, I thought, why not visit this area and play with the children, because I go there very often. So I went there. And this time I did not just play with the children outside of their premises. I entered their premises. The children, they are forced me to enter inside. Their mothers were calling me inside, and I went inside without thinking, without having any thought. And they made tea for me. And I just removed my mask. It was not normal. If someone is offering you a tea, you will drink it, right? I just, removed my mask and removed my chappals. I sat there on the floor with them and I had tea. And they started crying. Their mothers, two of their mothers started crying. They said कि दीदी बाहर से ही लोग आते हैं, चीजें पकड़ाते हैं, चले जाते हैं. कोई अंदर नहीं आता. Nobody comes inside. They come outside. They give our children some tea, biscuit, and everything. जो भी toys वगैरह होते हैं, and they go from outside. They don't come inside. They don't talk to us. And even with our children, they don't play. They just give them things. They think that we have done such a good noble job, and they go their way back home in their cars. But you come every time and you play with our children, and now you are entering inside our premises and you are having tea with us, and without any apprehension, without any thought. And they started crying and they started treating me like a mantri. Okay? And they asked me, "Aap kya karte ho? What do you do?" And I told them ki I teach UPSC ke aspirants. I teach them. And what is UPSC? They asked. They don't know about UPSC. Okay, they don't know about UPSC. So I told them their children knew about this exam. Their mothers did not know about it. So I told them UPSC से ये होता है. And they said, दीदी आप मंत्री बनोगी ना, हम आप ही को वोट देंगे. They thought UPSC, after becoming an IAS officer, I'll become a minister and then they'll vote for me. And I made, I made them realize UPSC is not that, it's not that after clearing this exam, you'll become a mantri or something. We'll work under the mantris. We'll work under the ministers. And they were very overwhelmed, crying and everything. And that was the point when I came back home, I told my mom, I want to become a minister. Because ऐसे होता है, you can win hearts just by drinking tea. मतलब एक चाय का कप लिया, पिया, and you have won the hearts of people. And it's very tough to win the heart of an individual. Valentine's Day is coming. एक इंसान का दिल जीतना, पढ़े लिखे इंसान का दिल जीतना मुश्किल है, पर इन लोगों का दिल जीतना बहुत easy है, बहुत आसान है. So that gave me chills. So basically, I understood in India, people play on emotions, and mostly majority of the people, they are run by emotions. That is why they vote for people जो भी अभी power में बैठे हैं. मैं कुछ बोलूंगी नहीं. I'll not say anything about them. Whoever is sitting in power, they are winning their votes because of these emotions only, nothing else. They are not doing anything on field practically, but they are winning votes on emotions. And same thing happened in India. It used to happen way back then. Britishers understood that. French did not understood it, did not understand it, and that is why they, basically failed to conquer India. And Britishers ruled India for 200 years. ठीक है, समझ आ रही है बात यहाँ तक? This was the reason. Seventh important point यहाँ पर लिखोगे, that British had the advantage. They had the advantage as they had partial control. As they had partial control over which state? अब तो सबको पता होगा. Now you must all be knowing it. Over which state? Let me know in the comment section. British had the advantage as they had the partial control over which state? Very good, Amritansh, Vatsalya. Very good. Bengal. बंगाल के पीछे हाथ धोकर पड़ा था ब्रिटिश. Britain as a nation was after Bengal because of its fertility, right? So they had partial control over the biggest land piece in India, that is Bengal. And from Bengal, the Nawabs were also controlling the Deccan region, the South region, some of the South regions. That is why they had the upper hand when we compare them to the French. Okay, so they had British को ऐसे आप box बना लो, just create a box around British and write that they had three important bases in India. They had three important bases in India. First base was Calcutta. Second base was Madras. I told you in the previous lecture also that in Madras they had very superior and very powerful army force that was staying in Madras. Whatever happened in Bengal, whatever wars happened in Bengal, the army was called from Madras only. Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay. These were the three important bases in India that the Britishers had. So already they were well established in India. French had no chance to win India as their colonial territory. French तो किसी भी हालत में उसके पास चांस नहीं था कि वो इंडिया को जीत सके. But they tried their luck because ego. ठीक है? Ravana also had ego. He knew I have no chance to win this battle. But ego, 10 heads, right? तो इससे क्या होता है? ईगो होता है तो हमें पता है कुछ नहीं होने वाला, फिर भी कूद जाते हैं. ठीक है कि हम जीतेंगे ही जीतेंगे. देखो, when we know we are not going to win and still we fight the battle, there are two reasons for that. One is we are confident कि अगर हम नहीं जीते, even if we lose the battle, at least we learn something. That is humility. Second type of person, no, I will win, that is ego. Okay, there are two kinds of people. One is a humble person who has humility कि at least I learn something even if I lose. ठीक है, and second is egoistic person कि भाई मैं ही जीतूंगा और सब तो बेवकूफ हैं. So French के साथ वही हुआ. ठीक है, the next Ravana, Britishers were also Ravanas और French were the bigger Ravanas. So they lost. यहाँ तक point clear हो गया. Now you can give example over here. Example of Battle of Buxar and Plassey. Battle of Buxar and Plassey. These two examples you can write because कल test है आप लोगों का. Tomorrow I am going to upload a test and उसके अंदर ये question I'll ask. ठीक है कि why do you think, what are the reasons, discuss the reasons for the French defeat in India, or why do you think the French had the Britishers had the upper hand when we compare them to the French. These two types of questions can be framed and I'll be asking one of these questions, so you have to be prepared at पहले से. अब यहाँ पर जब हम बात करते हैं Britishers की, I told you they had three important bases, but the French, I'll just erase it. Yes, but the French had only one important base. Only one important base. And that was at Pondicherry. I told you Pondicherry was established by the French. So in the last lecture. So the French had only one important base, that is Pondicherry. Now you can see it was pure ego. They have no understanding of Indian princely state rulers. They have no military, superiority when we compare them to the Britishers. They have no understanding of how the politics works in India. They have only one important base. All their resources are already invested in trading and manufacturing. Still they were thinking कि हम Britishers को हरा देंगे. Still they were thinking we can outshine the Britishers. That is pure ego and nothing else. Okay, point clear यहाँ तक सभी को? The 7 reasons are clear. Let me know in the comment section if the 7 reasons are clear. Yes. Should I delete the slide or should I erase it? I'll ask one question. Previous year question. Okay, clear. सबको clear है all right. तो अभी हम क्या करने वाले हैं? What are we going to do? Today I'll be asking first 2 questions. ठीक है, अभी prelims related questions PYQ के. You have to participate. Then we are going to study about the land revenue system under the Britishers. You can write it on the page, the front page. कि आज की क्लास में today at 9th of Feb we are going to study this land revenue. We are going to study subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. We are going to study. These are the most important topics which have been repeatedly asked in prelims and mains, directly or indirectly. ठीक है, statement change करके पूछ लिया. So we are going to have the deepest understanding of these 3 topics today. So everyone is ready? Should I ask the question first? All right. Question शुरू करते हैं. Question number 1. Read the question and note it down very carefully. Just give me a second. ठीक है, चलो. Question है, with reference to Pondicherry, who established Pondicherry in India, by the way? In the comment section, please. Very good, Rishabh. French. Vatsalya, very good. Ashok, very good. French. The first European power to occupy Pondicherry were Portuguese. The second European power to occupy Pondicherry were French. Now, when I say who established Pondicherry, I mean who re-established, or you can say reoccupy Pondicherry. Pondicherry was there in India, okay? But who basically colonized Pondicherry for themselves, okay? So when we say French were the ones who colonized or who established Pondicherry, that means उन्होंने recolonize किया था. They recolonized Pondicherry and they set up their base over there, winning over the Indian ruler who was already there in Pondicherry. The next statement is the English never occupied Pondicherry. Now you have to identify which of these statements, amongst these statements, which of them is or are correct. Options are only 1, 2 and 3, only 3, 1, 2, 3. अभी मैंने बताया था who recolonized. इंटेलिजेंट गेस यहाँ पर यूज हो सकता है बहुत इजीली. Read the third statement and use your intelligent guessing. And the last slide that we discussed, उसको देख लेना एक बार. अगर first and second statements are not clear, still you can use your intelligent guess. Let me know your answer. Think about it. 10 seconds time. Ashok is saying 1. Rishabh is saying 1. Vatsalya is saying 1. Shivakant is saying 1. Okay, let me know why 1. Why are you saying 1? The 4 students, Ashok, Rishabh, Vatsalya and Shivakant. Why 1? Did you use intelligent guessing system over here? And if you used it, why or how? Did you deduce ki statement 1 is correct, baki ki statement are wrong? Very good, Ashok. Because Portuguese, they came first. And Pondicherry was recolonized by the French. English captured Pondicherry. English captured. Very good, Vatsalya. Okay, only 4 students have participated. A is the correct answer over here. Statement 1 is correct. First European power to occupy Pondicherry were the Portuguese because they came first. Okay, so they had an upper hand. Plus, English never occupied Pondicherry. This statement is also wrong. If third is wrong, D, C and B will obviously get eliminated. क्योंकि इंग्लिश ने क्या किया था, ऑक्यूपाई नहीं किया था कभी पौंडीचेरी को. इनका 3 मेन बेस थे, मद्रास, कैलकाटा एंड योर नेक्स्ट वाज Madras, Calcutta, and the third one was Bombay. And Surat इनका मेन था, मेन बेस was सूरत. ठीक है, फर्स्ट फैक्ट्री मसूलीपट्टनम. बट पौंडीचेरी को इन्होंने ऑक्यूपाई नहीं किया था. इट वाज नॉट ऑक्यूपाइड. बंगाल वाज ऑक्यूपाइड, मद्रास वाज ऑक्यूपाइड, पौंडीचेरी वाज नेवर ऑक्यूपाइड. ठीक है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई थर्ड स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग. एंड व्हेन थर्ड स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग, यू नेवर हैव टू लुक एट फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड स्टेटमेंट. ऑलरेडी आपका बी सी डी एलिमिनेट हो जाएगा. दिस इज एलिमिनेशन मेथड. ठीक है, इफ यू आर गिवन 2 or 3 statements, either 1 or 2 statements, if they click in your head कि भाई by logic, by reasoning these statements are wrong or this particular statement is wrong, you can easily eliminate. और ये options भी इसी तरीके से UPSC बनाता है. This question came in 2010. UPSC creates option, that is why it is said PYQs are a must. They create options using elimination method only. They give you a chance. वो आपको upper hand देते हैं अपनी तरफ से कि elimination method use करो. 1 or 2 statement will be very logically correct. And using those statements only you can deduce if the other is correct or not. So we have to practice PYQs as many times as we can. I gave you the link to purchase that book also, 28 years PYQs. Try to purchase it because subject wise they have given PYQs. Modern history, subject wise, last 28 years PYQs. Polity, same applies to current affairs, even CSAT is covered. So if you practice it, at least twice, you will have an upper hand over other students because आपका elimination method और technique strong हो जाएगा. Okay. Now coming on to the next question. Question number 2. With reference to the entry, WRT means with reference to, with respect to भी होता है. The entry of European powers, the entry of European powers into India, which one of the following statements, ऋषभ को आ रही है नींद, which one of the following statements is not correct? बस एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन और है ऋषभ, उसके बाद नींद नहीं आएगी. Portuguese captured Goa in 1499. B. English opened their first factory in South India. शिवकांत ब्लैंक हो गए हैं बिल्कुल. शिवकांत इज ब्लैंक. नींद आ रही है इसको भी. At Masulipattnam. C. Eastern India Eastern India, in Eastern India, you can say, English company opened its first factory in Odisha in 1663. I gave you the map in the first lecture itself, in the PDF. So if you have gone through the map, you can answer this question very easily. The French occupied Madras in 1746. Which statement is not correct? Which statement is not correct? अब यहाँ मैं तो underline कर रही हूँ. I am underlining which statement is not correct. But UPSC will not underline, and students they slip in these kind of questions because they think, because mind is trained in that way, which statement is correct, which statement is correct, and then they ask you question which is not correct. So they are just checking your elimination techniques, your practice, how many times you have practiced before actual prelims exam, and your awareness. Nothing else they are checking. They are not checking how deeply you have studied a subject. No. Vatsalya is saying A, Ishwar is saying B, Rishabh is saying A. Which statement is not correct? जल्दी से बताओ. 5 seconds का टाइम है आप लोगों के पास. Only 5 seconds. Amritansh is saying B. Correct answer over here is A. Portuguese captured Goa not in 1499 but 1510. That is why ये statement गलत है. That is why this statement is wrong. बाकी statements are correct. This one is wrong because they occupied Goa in 1510, not in 1499. 1498 तो वो लोग आए ही थे, right? So how can they win over Goa just the very next year? They came as traders only, right? Initially. So it is 1510. They took their sweet time to capture states or to capture places. Okay? Point clear? Yes, Rishabh, it's about South India. Okay? In Eastern India, statement. We have to read the statements. In Eastern India, not in India, in Eastern India, English company opened its first factory in Odisha in 1663. Eastern India. Okay? Chalo. Now we are going to start with subsidiary alliance. In which standard did we study subsidiary alliance? कौन से standard में हमने subsidiary alliance पढ़ा था? How many of you remember? Let me know in the comment section. Which standard? Very good, Amritansh. Very quick. 8th standard. हमने 8th standard में पढ़ा था. Now we studied subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. These two concepts in class 8. Why do I remember it still? Because it was the only subject I was good at. Okay? And that is why I remember it. Subsidiary alliance, doctrine of lapse. It was the only subject in which I raised my hands, whenever the teacher used to ask questions. It was the only subject where other students used to, know कि Arpita knows everything in history. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए it was the only subject I excelled or I scored good marks. Maths was tie fish. ठीक है, English and history and somewhat Hindi. These 3 subjects were good. बाकी में I was मत पूछना scores. ठीक है, very bad. And it was the only subject because of which the teachers loved me. ठीक है, specifically the history teacher loved me because of the history only, the command in history only back then in 8th standard. So I remember subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. Very easy concepts. Basically, I remember them because I hated Britishers for what agreements they, basically made our Indian rulers sign. And I hated the Indian rulers also at that time, that they were so stupid that they did not understand the meaning behind these agreements. I don't know why, हमारे जो Indian princely state rulers थे, क्या उनके दिमाग में उस वक्त चल रहा था जो वो sign कर रहे थे टेबल पे बैठकर इन agreements को. When we talk about subsidiary alliance, what do you understand by the term subsidiary? Let me know in the comment section. What do you understand by the term subsidiary? Because when we understand the meaning behind these terms, we understand the agreements also. What is subsidiary related to? Subsidiary is related to companies. ठीक है, हम बोलते हैं ना अडानी की सब्सिडरी कंपनीज आर देयर, ठीक है, सब्सिडरी बेसिकली इज रिलेटेड टू कंपनीज, ठीक है। सो सब्सिडरी के दो मीनिंग्स होते हैं, वन एज एन एडजेक्टिव and one as noun. There are two meanings of subsidiary. As an adjective, it means, write it down because it will give you a clear understanding of this alliance. Connected with something, but less important than it. Now you will have a fair understanding of what we are going to study. Indian princely state rulers signed subsidiary alliance with the Britishers. They were connected with Britishers, but they were less important than the Britishers. Understood? Okay. Second, as a noun, what is the meaning of subsidiary? A business company that belongs to and is controlled by another larger company. That is the meaning of subsidiary as noun. Now you understood. Basically, for Britishers, they were business people. For them, India was a business hub for them. So India was a business company for them, which was being controlled by a larger company, East India Company. Because before 1857, East India Company was ruling India. Indirectly, British government was ruling India through East India Company. Okay, but after 1857, everything changed. And after that, British government directly took control of India. So before this period, subsidiary alliance was in existence. And for Britishers, it was a business company. India was a business company which was being controlled by English East India Company. Now you understood. With the meaning of the term subsidiary, we understood what is this alliance. Now what is the meaning of alliance? Let me know in the comment section. Alliance का मतलब क्या होता है? What do you understand when you see the word alliance? We often read and hear about this word in context of the political parties. Yes, partnership. Okay. So what is happening here in subsidiary alliance? क्या हो रहा है subsidiary alliance में? That India and Britishers, they are forming a partnership wherein the upper hand is with the Britishers or the British government. ये हो रहा है, ठीक है, subsidiary alliance में. So here I'm going to make a flow chart for all of you. This is subsidiary alliance. जितना हो सके flow chart बनाओ. The more you will be dependent on the flow charts, the more your answer writing skills will improve and your revision will improve. So subsidiary alliance was a deal between, BW means between. Okay. Now another important point, when I was checking your answer sheets abhi thode din pehle, I saw that the students are using these kind of shortcuts and between, okay, and even instead of because, they were writing cause. These things are not accepted in mains. Okay, you are writing the paper as an IS officer or IFS or IPS or IRS officer already. They are expecting an officer writing this particular paper. The examiner will evaluate you on the basis of your professional skills. So if you're using these kind of slangs or short terms or shortcuts, they are not going to accept it. Usi waqt they will cut off your marks. Okay, they will lose interest in your answer sheet. So make sure you're writing formally like an officer. Okay, because why mains is conducted? To test your writing skills, how well you present your answers in writing. Because after becoming administrative officer, you're going to write and submit reports, presentations, policy formulations you are going to do. The budget is not made by the finance minister himself. You all know that, right? You guys are going to make budget. You guys are going to write the budget, type the budget. Okay, so you have to maintain that professionalism in your answers also. Okay. After you clear your prelims, you have to consider that you already are an administrative officer. ठीक है, अभी भी यही समझना है कि we are an administrative officer. तो आपकी back straight होनी चाहिए when you are sitting. अभी से आदत बनानी है, ठीक है? When you are sitting, back should be straight. You have to present yourself as an officer already. ठीक है? So subsidiary alliance basically was a deal. It was a deal between, I can write BW, you cannot write it. It was a deal between the Britishers and the princely state rulers. PS rulers means the princely state rulers. This was a deal between these two people. Okay? And who was the Governor General whose brainchild was the subsidiary alliance? It was Governor General Lord Wellesley. तो ये किस अकलमंद का दिमाग चल रहा था ये अलायंस बनाने के लिए? वेलेस्ले का दिमाग चल रहा था. वेलेस्ले was the mastermind behind subsidiary alliance. And he did not formulate the subsidiary alliance. This agreement was being used by Britishers in all other colonies. But in India, who popularized the subsidiary alliance, that is Lord Wellesley, Governor General Lord Wellesley, Governor General of India. Always remember, governor is of states, governor general is of India. All the other governors used to report to the governor general. Okay? So Lord Wellesley, whose time period in India was 1798 as governor general till 1805. It is not important to remember the time period, but they can ask you questions related to timeline also sometimes. Only one question they'll ask, kabhi kabhi chronological question. So if you have a fair idea, yes, 1798 was the time when he became the governor general till 1805. If you have a fair understanding or fair idea of few governor generals, that would be good. We'll have a separate class also on only governor generals. Okay? So in that class, I'll be giving you mnemonics and visual time charts to remember these governor generals. So he popularized, write it down. The term is popularized. He did not invent, but popularize this subsidiary alliance in India. And who was, they can ask you in prelims, the first Nawab to enter into subsidiary alliance? The great first Nawab, जिनको लगा रहे बड़ा अच्छा इसमें alliance है, बड़ा अच्छा इसमें फायदा मिलेगा. The first Nawab was the Nawab of Awadh. ठीक है? He was the first to join. First Nawab to join. He was the first intelligent person to join this alliance. ठीक है? And Nizam of Hyderabad was the first to establish a strong subsidiary alliance. Awadh ka Nawab, he joined it, but he was not, not wholeheartedly he stepped into this alliance. But the most superior and intelligent Nawab who wholeheartedly entered into this alliance was the Nizam of Hyderabad. So basically, they will ask you which state wholeheartedly accepted the subsidiary alliance. It was Hyderabad. ठीक है? Point clear यहाँ तक सभी को? Please let me know if the point is clear. Now, I told you that Wellesley basically popularized subsidiary alliance in India. So, who devised this subsidiary alliance? In reality, who was the Britisher who came up with the idea that we should, sign subsidiary alliances with our colonies? So, it was the idea of one governor in Britain whose name was Joseph Francois. Write it down. The person who developed this idea, which was adopted by the Britishers, it was Joseph Francois Dupleix. ये थे फ्रेंच के गवर्नर, फ्रेंच ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के गवर्नर, जिन्होंने ये आइडिया डेवलप किया, which was then adopted by the Britishers. ठीक है? So अभी क्या होता है? What happens when you will become an IFS officer, Indian Foreign Servant? You will be made to study the political tactics by different countries and different constitutions. And it will be your responsibility to adopt great ideas from different nations and apply them in a more useful and meaningful way in India. That would be your duty. Okay? To enrich the international relations of India with other countries. Same way, at that time also, whatever great idea the other nations used to come up with, Britishers and other European countries used to adopt those ideas. So French governor Joseph Francois Dupleix came up with the idea of subsidiary alliance, and it was adopted by Britishers, and in India it was popularized by Lord Wellesley. Yahan tak point is clear? Amritansh is saying repeat Awadh and Hyderabad point. First Nawab to join the subsidiary alliance, to sit and sign the subsidiary alliance, was Nawab of Awadh. But wholeheartedly who followed this alliance to the very end was Nizam of Hyderabad. सबसे पहले साइन किया ऋषभ ने और उस चीज को निभाया अशोक ने. समझ आई बात? फर्स्ट वन टू साइन समथिंग with an agreement with me was Rishabh, but Ashok also signed, but Rishabh was not wholeheartedly signing this class agreement ki I'll be taking the class daily. Ashok was the one who was taking the class daily. So that is the difference between Nawab of Awadh and Nizam of Hyderabad. Understood? Point clear ho gaya? Please let me know in the comment section, point clear ho gaya if the point is clear. Ashok is saying why subsidiary alliance was very evil. Dekho, something when it is evil, it is wrapped in a gift paper, in a shining paper, and then presented, right? So it was wrapped up in a shining paper. What was a subsidiary alliance? It was an agreement. Okay? Basically, we know it's not an agreement, it's a trap. We know it because we are studying history. But in the present, when something is happening with us, we don't realize the evil behind it, right? If for example someone Valentine's week is going on, ठीक है, कोई आके रोज देता है आप लोगों को, someone is giving you, offering you a rose, ठीक है, you will think, oh my god, wow, something good is happening to us, ठीक है, a new person is entering our life, they are complimenting us, but we know it's a trap, ठीक है. What will happen? UPSC की पढ़ाई will get disturbed, ठीक है. वो कब समझ आएगा? When will we understand it? After giving prelims, है ना? So this is the difference कि उस time पर they did not understand because it was presented. And plus see, when we, you know, for the first time the Europeans were forging some kind of contracts and agreements with us, and हमें क्या लगता है, अंग्रेज हमसे ज्यादा पढ़े लिखे, the Europeans, the Westerners, they are more educated, far more advanced, etc. And what we are doing, we are much less when it comes to academics, or when it comes to speaking English, when it comes to startups or business ideas, etc. We are much less than them, ठीक है. Silicon Valley is the hub of startups, हम तो अभी बस start कर रहे हैं. तो इसलिए at that time also the Indian rulers, they thought कि Britishers are coming with something, they are our friends, they have superior knowledge, know-how, skills, etc. They'll help us, they'll take burden from us, and we'll enjoy the fame and name and the money. The Indian princely state rulers had that mindset, हम तो हाथी पे बैठ के घूमेंगे, बाकी काम ये लोग करेंगे. Indian princely state rulers were in the, you know, false idea that the Britishers are here to help us in administration, so we'll make them our slaves. But हुआ क्या? उल्टा हुआ. In reality, something else happened. ठीक है? They did not understand the plan of Britishers. Now moving ahead, आगे बढ़ते हैं यहाँ पर. When we talk about यहाँ पर Lord Wellesley के बारे में, when we talk about Lord Wellesley, we know that he established or popularized subsidiary alliance in India, which was an agreement between whom? Between the British and the Indian princely state rulers. PSR is princely state rulers. Now, what happened in subsidiary alliance? I told you what is the meaning of subsidiary. It's a small business unit which is being controlled and handled by a larger company. So here, the Indian princely state rulers, what they did, they gave over their sovereignty. Let me know the meaning of sovereignty in the comment section. They gave over their sovereignty to the British. Yes, Ashok, very good. To the British in exchange of what? In exchange of their safety. This was the trap. They said, our freedom, our army is yours, but you will provide us safety. Protection from what? From foreign excursions. Write it down. Foreign excursions or attacks. If the foreign powers, because all the other Europeans were coming as traders in India, ठीक है, हर कोई यूरोपियन पावर जो है वो as traders इंडिया में आ रहे थे. And they thought कि now all these Europeans are coming, they are coming as traders, but हो सकता है, it is possible that they can try to win over our lands, they can try to overpower us. So what they did, they signed this agreement, and they did not sign it willingly. The Britishers manipulated them. Britishers ने उनको manipulate किया. Just give me a second, I'll come back in a minute. Chalo, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. So Lord Wellesley, basically this particular agreement was signed. Why? So that Britishers का तो motive एक ही था. Britishers wanted the control over the army of India, because if army is in control, then the Indian princely state rulers have no power. So same thing happened here. They manipulated, sugar-coated the Indian princely state rulers, because they had an upper hand over the relationship. 1600 से India में थे. They were in India since 1600. They had an upper hand already, and that is why they were, able to manipulate them. And finally, this particular agreement was signed. Ki you give us the sovereignty, we'll be administering on your behalf. You can enjoy the lavishness, the kingdom, the fame, everything you can enjoy. This was the starting point of subsidiary alliance. But later on, after a few years, the fame and name of the Indian princely state rulers also came down. Okay? Now, हमको पता है कि when this agreement was signed, the Britishers are promising we'll provide you safety. For that, we will appoint our representative to sit in your court. That representative would be known as resident. Write it down. This is important for prelims. Students, they miss out on these points. ये छोटे छोटे points हैं. For example, the British governor generals used to call themselves nabobs. ठीक है? Why? Because Indian rulers were known as nawabs. So they copied that. And then they appointed their representatives after signing this subsidiary alliance permanently in the court of the Indian rulers. They were known as residents. Now, if there is a foreign resident in your court, you are a princely state ruler, and the foreign resident has made you sign the subsidiary alliance, they are saying, give us your sovereignty, we'll give you safety. What do you think? In the court, policy formulation, strategy making, consultancy, who will do all these things? PSC. कौन करेगा? The ruler and his minister or the Britishers? Let me know in the comment section. Britishers, right? Because in the agreement it was written, sovereignty is given to Britishers. Every freedom that you have is with the Britishers. We will provide you safety. So everything, the management, yes, Britishers through their implanted residents, everything, the management, strategy formulation, policy formulation, consultancy will be done by only the Britishers. And for that, देखो यहाँ पर point to understand and notice is, for that they said, you need to give them the stipends also. The Indian princely state rulers, they have to give stipends to the residents, because our residents are providing you consultancy, strategy formulation, policy formulation. We are helping you to manage your territory. We need stipend also for the upkeep of the resident. So who has the upper hand financially also and politically also in this alliance? Who has the upper hand? Britishers, right? We understand it now. At that point of time, the Indian princely state rulers did not understand, but the Marathas understood it. Okay? The Marathas understood it. The Sikhs understood it. Nawab of Awadh also understood it. That is why he was not wholeheartedly in this alliance. But because he knew my military power is not that strong, that I can protect my state or my territory from the foreign excursions or attacks, he unwillingly signed this alliance. But the Marathas were strong. They understood it. They understood the policies of Mughals. That is why they were against the Mughals. They understood the policy of Britishers. That is why they were against the Britishers. Point clear हो गया? और Mughals की बात हमारे text book में कोई नहीं करता. In our history textbooks, there is a very short passage or paragraph about the Mughals. But if we go about the history of Mughals now, sorry, not Mughals, Marathas, if we go about the history of Marathas, it's a very brilliant golden history. Every child, every student in this country should read about it, because it gives us the strength to fight until our last breath, to always stand against what is wrong, to be spiritually confident, just like Chhatrapati Maharaj Shivaji, and to also stand फिजिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग, इमोशनली स्ट्रॉन्ग. इस प्रेपरेशन में आपका स्पिरिचुअल कोशेंट, आपका इमोशनल कोशेंट, इंटेलिजेंट कोशेंट चेक किया जाता है. इन दिस प्रेपरेशन स्पिरिचुअल, इमोशनल, इंटेलिजेंट कोशेंट इज बीइंग चेक्ड. ठीक है? एंड दैट यू कैन लर्न फ्रॉम मराठा. सो आई वुड रिकमेंड यू, whenever you get free time, try to learn about the Maratha history, specifically about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, specifically about him. He lost a lot in life, still he stood for what was right. And he was very spiritual also. So try to read about him as and when you get time. Okay? Now let us understand the consequences because this is what is asked in mains. Abhi tak whatever we studied now about essay, it was just about prelims. But this particular portion is asked in mains. Mains में ना direct questions ऐसे नहीं आते हैं. When was this particular line signed? Amongst whom this was signed? No. They will ask you the impact of that alliance. Always remember in mains, study the impact. Whatever is happening, what is the impact of that in India? So consequences were different for Indian rulers and they were different for the British. ठीक है, दोनों के लिए consequence different थे. The end result was different. For Indian rulers, what did they gain or lose after signing this subsidiary alliance? What was the impact on them? Let me know in the comment section. Shivakant, let me know in the comment section. Shivakant is like, I am very drowsy. I'll just fall asleep. What was the impact? Shivakant will write first. Ashok, yes, freedom was gone. Shivakant, what's your say? What did they lose or gain because of signing of subsidiary alliance? Vatsalya ने वीडियो शट कर दिया और सोने चली गई है. Lost their sovereignty. Very good, Amritansh. Very good. They lost their freedom. You can say financial freedom, territorial freedom, all kind of freedom. Yes. Decision-making freedom also lost. Plus, they lost the right to defend themselves. Yes or no? Now they willingly told Britishers, you protect us. तुम हमारे माई बाप हो. तुम हमें protect करो. From any foreign attack, you are the God. You have to protect us. We are giving you the right. So obviously, you have no right to defend yourself. When you have no right to defend yourself, you have lost the battle of life. Trust me. अगर अपने आप को बचाने का right भी आपके पास नहीं है ना, फिर कोई फायदा नहीं है जीने का. ठीक है? This is the one human right that we all have, the right to defend ourselves. We should never give this right in anybody's hand, whether it is the government or the parents or the siblings or the partner. अपने आप को protect करने की right अपने हाथ में होना चाहिए, वरना क्या होता है, we get dependent, and when we get dependent on someone, spiritually we lose the battle, and also emotionally, morally, virtually we lose the battle. ठीक है, altogether. If we are giving the right to defend ourselves in somebody else's hands, or if we are getting dependent on someone else. Indian princely state rulers, yahi mistake thi. This was the only mistake that they did. They should have been united. If they were afraid of the foreign excursions, they should have been united. Chanakya's mission was a united Bharat. Nobody understood him. Nobody tried to understand what his mission was. Now we understand how great Chanakya was. At that time, hardly few people understood his greatness. Okay. Similarly, abhi when we say we should be united, there are people like Ratan Tata. There were people like APJ Abdul Kalam, right? When we ignore these people in the present, we respect them, but we do not take them very that seriously. जितना सीरियसली हम चाणक्य को आज लेते हैं, उतना सीरियसली हम या उतना रिस्पेक्ट, उस लेवल का रिस्पेक्ट शायद रतन टाटा के लिए नहीं होगा कब, जब वो चले जाएंगे. When he'll leave us, our respect will increase. यही होता है. लोग जब तक साथ होते हैं हम रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं, बट फिर भी फॉर ग्रांटेड लेते हैं. जब वो चले जाते हैं, फिर हम उनके बारे में पढ़ के उनको ज्यादा अच्छे से समझते हैं. वी रीड अबाउट पीपल एंड देन वी अंडरस्टैंड देम मोर क्लियरली, राइट? सो दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद ऑल ऑफ अस. एट दैट टाइम unity was not there. If we were united, we would never have been ruled by the Britishers for 200 years. That was a mistake on our part, right? Then second, just give me a second. Yeah. Now, second important consequence of subsidiary alliance was internal rusting of India. Yes or no? Internal decay of India, rusting of India. India was becoming hollow from inside. Why? Because we were getting dependent. Where there is dependency, there is slavery automatically, right? So internal rusting of India was there. Plus, we were giving Britishers the money to sit in our court and to advise us. We were giving them the money to protect us. We were giving them the money to rule us. हमें नहीं पता था rule कैसे करते हैं खुद को. We are the country, who has the history of rulers like Chandragupta Maurya, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Gupta Empire, right? We have the history of Krishna, the administration of Krishna. It was one of the glorious periods during the time of Krishna, during the time of Pandavas, right? But here we were giving the right to interfere to the foreigners. Yes, Amritansh, हम Britishers को दे रहे थे, हम अपने ऊपर confident ही नहीं थे. Lack of confidence was the result of signing this subsidiary alliance. ठीक है? Then we were, write it down, maintaining diplomatic relations. We were maintaining diplomatic relations at the cost of our own self-confidence and sovereignty. We were so weak that we were maintaining diplomatic relations at the cost of our own self-confidence. Yes, Vatsalya, we gave the right to exploit our resources. हमने ही उनको की दी, right? But then after 1850, from 1857, we were the one who realized this is not going to go on for a long period of time. We are going to stand against it. मंगल पांडे जिंदाबाद. ठीक है? किसने समझ लिया कि भाई ये ब्रिटिशर्स हमें एक दूसरे के अगेंस्ट, नाउ दे आर यूजिंग हिंदू मुस्लिम disunity to break us. Now they are using the card of Hindu Muslim. Mangal Pandey was the one. He understood it. 1857, when we'll study this particular revolt period, you are going to enjoy the class because there were things that are not written in history textbooks. I've seen them through documentaries. Okay? So you'll enjoy the class how things happened during this revolt. Now for the Britishers, now you'll tell me what was the consequence of signing subsidiary alliance with Indian rulers for the Britishers. जल्दी से बताओ, लग जाओ. Shivakant, wake up. Tell me in the comment section, what was the consequence? Rishabh, consequence. Amritansh, Ishwar, Vikas, Ashoki Singh, territorial gain. Yes, very good. Indirectly, they were enlarging their territorial control over India. Shivakant, very good. I'm writing the points. Territorial control expanded. Okay, this control expanded. Ashoki Singh, monetary gain. Yes, very good. Financial gains expanded. They got access to interfere in internal affairs. Yes, very good. Write it down यहाँ पर. Access. Very good, Amritansh. In the internal affairs. In the internal affairs, when somebody has access in your internal affairs, then trust me, the family is going to break. ठीक है? जब किसी तीसरे बंदे को आपके घर में घुसने का एक्सेस मिल जाता है ना, फिर कुछ नहीं बचता. इसलिए from day one I am telling you, never let anyone else know what is going on between you and your family members. Never let anyone else gain that control. ठीक है? Whatever is happening between you and your parents, never let your partner get involved in that or siblings get involved in that, because everybody will have their own opinion and perspective. They will try to cloud your opinion and judgment. You should never let anyone else have access to your judgment. It should be your and your only. Pure तुम्हारी judgment होनी चाहिए. ठीक है? And next हो गया overthrow and annexation of Indian territories. Those countries, those states which were not ready to sign the subsidiary alliance later on, like Awadh, Mysore, Marathas, forcefully the Britishers annexed their Indian territories and states using other tactics. So यहाँ पर example would be Awadh, Mysore, Maratha, etc. ठीक है? So forcefully now they were annexing, मतलब because obviously they had now gained confidence, the Britishers. These Indian rulers, they are nothing, without us. वैसे भी Britishers used to think we are illiterate, right? We believe in magical horses and elephants. They used to think that way. Up to they are also accepting the how spiritual this land is and what they should learn. They are taking yoga in their countries from India. So back then they used to think they hocus pocus hota rehta hai. This is a country of snake charmers and magical creatures, etc. They used to think that way. So obviously they had an upper hand over the Indian rulers and they misused it. So when we talk about subsidiary alliance, just give me a second. I'll ask a question on subsidiary alliance also later on. When we talk of subsidiary alliance, we know that in this alliance there were three things that happened. तो यहाँ मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से आपको लिखना है. What were the three things that happened in subsidiary alliance? First, the Indian princely state rulers, PSR, they accepted the British as supreme power. Okay, this was the first thing. First term, you can say things or term. Okay, So first term was Indian princely state rulers accepted Britishers as the supreme power. Second was the Indian princely state rulers, they surrendered their foreign relations, their foreign relations to the East India Company. EIC means East India Company. And these Indian princely state rulers also agreed that they would, these were the specific terms that you should know, that they would not enter into any alliance, with any other power. तो यहाँ पर देख रहे हो the game of Britishers. They knew that the French are coming. They knew that the Portuguese, the Dutch, all the other Europeans, they are trying to invade India. They are trying to play with India. India is a very fertile, very rich land. So in the term, it was mentioned clearly, you will only have foreign relations and any other alliance with us. All foreign relations that you have with any other European nation would be administered by us. So all the friendly nations for the Britishers, only with them India had good foreign relations back then. Britisher की book में जो भी अच्छे friendly nations हैं उनके दोस्त हैं उन्हीं के साथ India alliance रखेगी. Any alliance with any other European nation which the Britishers are not allowing, that would be null and void. So basically, it is like a toxic relationship. Valentine's week is going on. This is the sign. These three terms are the sign of toxic relationship. If you find any such partner, please run away. Okay? Is somebody saying, if you are with me, then you will leave your friends. You will not talk to this girl, that girl. So ऐसा हो तो भाग लो. Okay? If these are the conditions, run away. No matter how beautiful or how successful the other person is, just run away. Okay? Third important term, the Indian princely state ruler accepted British resident at their courts. अपने कोर्ट में बोला कि आप बिठा सकते हो किसी भी रेजिडेंट को. And they also, write it down, they also agreed to pay these British residents timely stipends. These terms are basically living proof of the stupidity. If they were signed by the subsidiary, the Indian princely state rulers, so they show or reflect the stupidity of the princely state rulers or the weakness of them. यहाँ तक point clear हो गया सभी को? Please let me know. All right. तो यहाँ पर एक point add कर लो. In the conclusion, if any question on subsidiary alliance come, yes, it's a suicidal approach, right? If the question comes, in the conclusion, what you will write? In the conclusion, you will write that subsidiary alliance basically was a major process that led to building of the British Empire in India. So in the conclusion, if subsidiary alliance based question comes, discuss the terms of subsidiary alliance, or in your view, how एक word मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा. I read the question in PYQ only. I'll frame the question for tomorrow's test. How lethal the subsidiary alliance was. So उसमें in the conclusion you will write, hence subsidiary alliance basically was a major process that led to the building of the British Empire in India. India में British Empire basically was formed only on the foundation of subsidiary alliance. Without this, British Empire was not very strong. But because of these terms, it became very strong. All right. So I'll ask a question now. 2018 का PYQ है. If you all are ready, let me know in the comment section. All are ready? Okay. Question is, which one of the following statements, read the question carefully, does not apply to the system of subsidiary alliance introduced by Lord Wellesley. Point A, to maintain large standing army. to maintain large standing army at others' expense. B, to keep India safe from Napoleonic danger. C, to secure a fixed income for the company, for the East India Company. And D, to establish British superiority or paramountcy over Indian states. जल्दी से बताओ इसका आंसर. Let me know the answer. Read the question carefully first. Which one of the following statements does not apply? ईश्वर, विकास, अमृतांश, राजू. Vikas, B. Everyone is saying B. Amritansh, what's your answer? Option A, to maintain large standing army at others' expense. Question is, which one of the following statements does not apply to the system of subsidiary alliance? ये तो apply करता है. Yes, they were maintaining standing army at our expense. B, to keep India safe from Napoleonic danger. नहीं करता, ये अप्लाई नहीं करता सब्सिडरी अलायंस को. सोचो इस बारे में. They are not saying danger from Napoleon, Napoleonic danger, which means foreign excursion, जिसका मतलब होता है foreign excursion. Because at that time और उससे पहले Napoleon was the most feared king because he was invading kingdoms and countries. That kind of danger, to keep India safe from that kind of danger. Now let me know if statement B is not applying. जल्दी से बताओ, सोचो ढंग से. अशोक is saying करता है. Other students? B is applying to subsidiary alliance. It applies. ठीक है, Napoleonic danger. That means danger from foreign excursion. So it is a part of subsidiary alliance. Third, to secure a fixed income for East India Company. Now, not all the princely states had signed the subsidiary alliance, right? And even if all the states had signed subsidiary alliance, a mere stipend was given to the British resident, right? It did not secure a fixed income for East India Company. For that, land revenue systems were being introduced. For a fixed income, major source of revenue has to be established, and subsidiary alliance was not a major source of income. So C does not apply to subsidiary alliance. D applies to establish British superiority over Indian states. ये तो सही है, because obviously they were protecting us from foreign excursions. A basic stipend was being paid to British residents. ठीक है. Point 1 is saying to maintain large standing army at others' expense. Others here is Indian princely state rulers. ठीक है. At our expense, we were maintaining the army, but the army was led by Britishers. So standing army means they are ready to face any kind of war, sudden attack from other European nations. So standing army was maintained at every state that has signed the subsidiary alliance. जिस state ने sign किया था alliance, उस state में borders पे एक armies खड़ी रहती थी to denote कि Britishers are helping the princely state ruler in protecting against any attack, foreign attack. C नहीं apply करता because to secure a fixed income, you should have a major revenue source, right? For example, a major investment in some FD or some mutual fund, or if you have purchased a property, rental income is coming. That is a secure fixed income. Stipend being given to British residents is not a fixed secure income. ठीक है? Subsidiary alliance was a non-intervention policy. whatever Britishers are doing, you will not interfere. For example, I am the Britisher. I am a Lord. I'm the Lord Wellesley. Okay. And Shivakant is Indian princely state ruler. This subsidiary alliance that I'm making him sign, that means whatever I do in your state, you are not going to interfere. That's it. Okay. So please write it down. Subsidiary alliance was a non-interference policy. That does not denote that it is securing a fixed income for English East India Company. Army will be, the expenditure on maintaining the army will be done by the Indian princely state ruler only. That is why I said whoever signed this alliance was stupid. Okay. So the maintenance charges of the army was being given by the Britishers only. Okay. That is why it is written at others' expense, at our expense. Point clear यहाँ तक सभी को? चलो, very good. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's move forward. Now we are going to doctrine of lapse. The second important point, doctrine of lapse. अब हम इस point पे आने वाले हैं. अब आप में से जितनों को नींद आ रही है जाकर पानी पीकर आ जाओ. ठीक है? Then we'll start doctrine of lapse. If you want, take a break of 3 minutes. Have some water. थोड़ा back straight कर लो, थोड़ा stretching कर लो. We'll meet after 3 minutes. Abhi right now it's 9:55. 9:59 पर we'll come back. Okay? Take a break, stretch कर लो, खड़े हो जाओ, थोड़ा चल लो. Break time over. Chalo, back to lecture. Let's start. Now we are going to start with doctrine of lapse. Okay. Now I told you subsidiary alliance was a non-interference policy. I hope you all have written it down. Doctrine of lapse basically was an annexation policy. This was an annexation policy. The brainchild of Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, when he was India's Governor General from the period 1848 to 56. 57 में तो revolt happened, and the major reason why the revolt happened was these two alliances only, doctrine of lapse की policy and subsidiary alliance. Because yes, few rulers were weak, but few others were not weak as those who signed actually these alliances. ठीक है? For example, Rani Lakshmibai. Okay. Now here when we talk about doctrine of lapse, according to this particular policy, this was a very hated policy, one of the most hated policy, and the policy why the rulers started protesting in Satara, in Sambalpur, in Bhagat, in Udaipur. The rulers started protesting against doctrine of lapse because this was one of the harshest policy. Basically, Britishers they were trying to anyhow we should grab the territories and lands of Indian rulers. According to this, you can write it down here. पर any princely state, PS means princely state, that was under the direct or the indirect control of East India Company, any princely state that was under the direct or indirect control of East India Company, where the ruler did not have, now this is important point that I'm writing with a different ink, did not have a legal male heir, would be annexed, that is snatched away by the company, East India Company, EIC. कोई भी princely state, any princely state where the Britishers are directly or indirectly present, they added indirect word because there were some states who were not letting the British residents to sit in their courts. So indirectly, if any factory or any even trading is happening in that particular princely state through the Britishers, so any princely state under direct or indirect control of East India Company, where the ruler did not have specifically legal male heir, because they understood the people of India's mentality. They knew that the males are becoming the kings. The females, they are not ruling the states. The males are ruling. So they added legal male heir would be annexed by East India Company. If you do not have, for example, यहाँ पर हम बात करते हैं, let's take an example. This is Arpita, which is the British ruler, and Vatsalya is the not Vatsalya, because legal male heir they are adding, we'll add Ashok. Okay. So if Ashok is a princely state ruler and I am a Britisher, in this doctrine of lapse policy I have written, if you are under the direct or indirect control of East India Company, of my company, direct control means my resident is sitting in your court. Indirect control means I am trading in your state, or I have some small chutmut se rights. Okay. And also you are not having any legal male heir. You are having a female child, but not a male. आपका biological son नहीं है. It would be annexed by East India Company. And then Rani Lakshmibai, she adopted a male child, right? Again, another point was added in doctrine of lapse. Any adopted son of the Indian ruler could not be proclaimed as heir to the kingdom. Rani Lakshmibai said, I have adopted a male child. My own biological son died because of some disease. I have adopted another, and he's a male child. But the doctrine of lapse said, adopted ones, they are not your blood, so they are not going to be accepted as the Indian ruler. And that is why the revolt started from Rani Lakshmibai's side. This is pure, conspiracy you are doing. Okay, they used to kill every male child produced. Yes, they also used to do that. Right? Amritansh is right. Even a particular kingdom used to say, I have a male child, right? You cannot annex my state. He's my biological son. Some way or the other, they used to kill the male child, right? So they were using this doctrine of lapse policy, the most evil-minded policy. Subsidiary alliance तो फिर भी some rulers accepted. This policy was not being accepted. Okay, point clear हो गया? And using this policy, they forcefully annexed some of these states. What were the states which were forcefully annexed? They were Satara. Write down the year, 1848. Another was, write it down, Jaitpur and Sambalpur. Maratha states were also, annexed forcefully. The year was 1849. Then another state was annexed, Bhagat, in 1850. You can see 1848, 49, 50. Okay, year by year they are trying to win over the states or annex the states forcefully. Another state which was annexed was Udaipur. Udaipur was annexed in 1852. Then next was Jhansi, and this was the breaking point, 1853. And then Nagpur in 1854. After that, a massive revolt started, and they could not annex further. They were busy in, handling the revolt only. And that was the time in 1857 when they saw the real power of Indian rulers, the real power of unity among the Indian rulers. But again, central leadership was not there in 1857 ka revolt. That is why the revolt was a failure. But in spirit, it was a victory for us. Finally, we realized what the Britishers are doing, right? But yes, it was too late for that. ठीक है, यहाँ तक point clear हो गया? If the point is clear, please let me know. Let me know in the comment section. All right, point is clear. यहाँ तक clear हो गया? All right. So finally, half an hour is left for the class. ठीक है? In this half an hour, we are going to take your doubts for the first 5 to 6 minutes. And then we'll start with the land revenue system. तो आपके जो भी doubts हैं, if you are comfortable, you can write them down. If you are more comfortable, I'll switch on the audio. Amritansh is saying, where is Bhagat? Bhagat was in Himachal Pradesh. It was a princely state, Amritansh, in Himachal Pradesh. जो शिमला के hills है ना, the hills of Shimla, they were a part of this state, Bhagat. You can write it down, but for general knowledge, it is important for you to understand. Modern day Himachal Pradesh, okay? That is Bhagat. Any doubt, everyone? Next 5 minutes, we are going to take your doubts. Yes, Ashok, should I switch on the audio or you will write? Okay, you can write, Ashok. Rest of the students, please let me know, have you joined any coaching class or self-study is going on right now? Any coaching, any course, an academy or any other coaching institute or self-study is going on? Let me know in the comment section, everyone. Vatsalya, self-study. अच्छा, अशोक unmute कर देती हूँ. Earlier joined, now doing self-study. Okay, Rishabh. Shivakant is also doing self-study. Vikas self-study. Yes, Ashok.
मैम इन द स्लाइड आपने लिखा है कि आपने बताया था अवध पहला स्टेट था जिसने ज्वाइन किया, बट इन द स्लाइड इट इज रिटन कि हैदराबाद ने 1798 में ज्वाइन किया एंड अवध ने 1801 में किया. तो इसमें से पहला कौन सा है?
देखो, जो मैंने स्लाइड में लिखा है ना प्रीलिम्स के लिए, वो आपको समझना है. दैट इज व्हाई मैंने पहले स्लाइड आपको शेयर की थी. प्रीलिम्स के लिए टेक्निकली आपको वही याद रखना है ईयर वाइज. बट व्हेन आई से ना अवध वाज फर्स्ट टू जॉइन, इट वाज अनऑफिशियली. ठीक है, इफ आई मिस्ड इट प्लीज राइट इट डाउन. ठीक है
मैम अगर प्रीलिम्स से क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा व्हिच स्टेट वाज द फर्स्ट टू जॉइन सब्सिडियरी अलायंस, तो मैं क्या कहूं?
स्लाइड में हैदराबाद. यू हैव टू मेंशन हैदराबाद. ठीक है, टेक्निकली स्लाइड में व्हाटएवर इज मेंशन्ड दैट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर फॉर प्रीलिम्स. Unofficially, if I've missed it, please write it down. Awadh was the first one. Okay, to break. The discussions were going on for subsidiary alliance. Awadh was the first one who thought कि yes, it is a great, opportunity for us. ठीक है? Nizam of Hyderabad technically signed it first, but अवध के जो नवाब थे, they were ready verbally कि we are ready कि for this kind of arrangement or agreement. Okay?
So Hyderabad was the first state.
Any other doubt? और कोई डाउट अशोक? नहीं? ऋषभ, डाउट? शिवाकांत, एनी डाउट? अच्छा, कैन आई नो द रीजन व्हाई यू गाइस आर नॉट जॉइनिंग एनी कोचिंग? सेल्फ स्टडी का कोई रीजन स्पेसिफिक? ईश्वर, विकास, शिवाकांत, वत्सल्या, ऋषभ, अशोक, you also let me know if you have joined any coaching. Ashok is joining an academy. Okay. Raju, I have done coaching already. Okay. All right. So self study is going on. Amritansh, it is Surat. अच्छा, ऋषभ is saying just need mentorship. I have done coaching. अच्छा, ठीक है. Okay, ऋषभ. अच्छा, ऋषभ, you were the one na who asked me about economics, right? How to prepare for economics, right? On personal message. All right. Okay, okay. अमृतांश, उसको करेक्ट कर लो. Just rub it off. Okay, just correct it. All right. चलो. Now let's start with land revenue system. ठीक है? Land revenue system start करते हैं. अच्छा, when we talk about land revenue system, what do you understand by it? What do you think what we are going to study? When I say land revenue system of Britishers, what do you think? What are we talking about? Ashok is saying tax on land. Okay. Anyone else who wants to give their input? Taxation on land, Vatsalya, same taxation on land. Okay. Amritansh, Rishabh, Vikas, Ishwar, Raju. Okay, yes, tax on land and harvest. Very good. Land revenue system means revenue from land. India is a great land, a big land, right? So when we talk about land revenue system, it means different policies. Yes, Rishabh, right. Different policies which were formulated to earn revenue from land. That is land revenue system. So here we are going to make a flow chart. Land revenue systems under British rule. इसके ऊपर every year the UPSC they ask questions for 4 to 6 marks. ठीक है? So that is why this is going to be really important because it's easy to score na. It's easy from these topics: subsidiary alliance, doctrine of lapse, revolt of 1857, land revenue system. These are very easy topics. If you do these topics consistently, if you revise them, do them deeply, understand them deeply, you will score aram se 8 to 10 marks very easily. And you know the value of even 1 mark in prelims. Okay, it's a competitive exam. Even 1 mark is going to make you or break you. So land revenue system ki when we talk about this system, there were 3 basic land revenue systems. There were different systems, talukdari system, right, zamindari system, but there are 3 basic systems that we are going to study for our exam. First one is the zamindari system, which is prevalent aaj bhi in today's time also. Second is the reotwari system. And third is the mahalwari system. Third is the mahalwari system. Zamindari, mahalwari and reotwari. These are the 3 systems. And land revenue, you can write it down because the write-ups that I'm giving to you, they are going to help you in mains. You can also write down that this land revenue was one of the major sources of income for Britishers in India. So if they ask subsidiary alliance, land revenue system, doctrine of lapse, and none of the above, which option you are going to opt for? One of the major sources of income for Britishers in India. Subsidiary alliance, doctrine of lapse. Okay, A is subsidiary of alliance, B is doctrine of lapse, C is land revenue, D is none of the above. Which option will you opt? Major source of income. Rishabh is saying C, Ashok is saying C. Yes, correct. C is the correct answer. Major source of income for Britishers in India is land revenue. Subsidiary alliance is a non-intervention policy. Doctrine of lapse is annexation policy. These are not revenue generating policies. Okay? If please let me know if you have drawn this flowchart so that I can delete it or erase it off. जल्दी से बताओ कमेंट सेक्शन में yes or no लिख लिया. All right. अब सबसे पहले we are going to study the zamindari system. So you can draw a vertical flow chart or the horizontal flow chart जैसे आपको सही लगे. ठीक है. Also we are going to start this practice now from tomorrow or starting with today. Whatever flow charts you have made, click a picture of it, any one page. ठीक है. Click picture of any one flow chart that you have made by your hand and post it on our Telegram channel. ठीक है. On the group, so that I would know the manner in which you are taking notes or flowcharts. If there is any flaw, I can correct it. Okay. So zamindari system, because the way you create flowcharts is going to determine your bonus marks in mains. Mains mein if you draw flowcharts in essay ka paper, in mains ethics ka paper, they give you bonus marks. These are the bonus earning points flowcharts. So I would look at your flowcharts and I would tell you kahan par correction, where you need correction. Okay. So zamindari system, it was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. In which year it was introduced? In 1793 it was introduced. The timeline that we make is तरीके से 1600 Indian, the Britishers came, 1700, 1800. Near 1800 here, 1793, we have the zamindari system. At the end of the 5th lecture, the 5th class, I will be posting a timeline which I have created. मतलब I am working on it. अभी थोड़ा सा बचा है. A few parts are remaining. I have created a timeline, a visual timeline with pictures and everything. Now I'll be uploading that PDF after the end of 5th class, and that would help you in prelims also and mains also to navigate your way through history, different events in history. Zamindari system introduced by Lord Cornwallis 1793. Now through what platform or through what act this system was introduced? So you can write it down. Through the concept of permanent settlement. Through the concept of permanent settlement. ठीक है. Now what exactly is permanent settlement? अब ये permanent settlement क्या है ये समझ लेते हैं. ठीक है. When we talk about permanent settlement, it means the Britishers fixed the land rights. The Britishers fixed the land rights of members in perpetuity. You must have come across this word in maths, perpetuity. Okay? Without any fixed rent or occupancy right for the actual cultivators. Now you can see the evilish and devilish face of Britishers over here. The actual cultivators had no fixed rental or occupancy right on the land on which they were cultivating. Land rights were fixed of the members based irrespective of seasons, weather, etc. Manish is asking, kindly post a recorded video link. Okay. Shivakant, please leave a message on the Telegram group that the class is still going on. Okay. Sure. So zamindari system introduced by Lord Cornwallis. अब देखो इसका याद करने का मैं तरीका बताती हूँ. I'll tell you a way to remember it. Cons, ठीक है. Harvesting होती है, agriculture से related है. So you remember कि zamindari system, zameen means land. This was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. Corn is related to agriculture. ठीक है, तो ऐसे याद रखना. These little anecdotes, these little quirky ideas will help you remember the name of the person who introduced zamindari system. Zameen means land. Land पे कौन हम उगा रहे हैं, agriculture कर रहे हैं. Land is related to agriculture. कौन is related to agriculture. zamindari system introduced by Lord Cornwallis, 1793. Remember this visual timeline. 1793. Okay. Through permanent settlement. What is permanent settlement? Permanent. Land rights will be fixed irrespective of your financial condition, of the weather, the season, etc., of the climate, etc. Okay, in perpetuity for non-fixed amount of time, without any fixed rent or occupancy right. You will not have any occupancy right on the land in which you are cultivating. Your land rights will be fixed. जो आज के time के लिए fix कर दिया है, whatever in today's time has been fixed, the rights has been fixed, will remain the same irrespective of whatever changes are happening around you. ठीक है, that is permanent settlement system. Now through the permanent settlement systems, in this system zamindars were appointed. ठीक है, who were the zamindars? They were the permanent owners of land. They were the permanent owners of land. They were the owners. Actual cultivators had no right. Zamindars, they were not doing the agriculture part. They were not doing the agricultural activities. They were sitting. They were making other people do the labor, and the labor had no right. Okay. Now, in this permanent settlement system, or in this, zamindari system, land revenue, in this system, land revenue was collected from farmers, through or by intermediaries, middlemen, through intermediaries. So this is the zamindar sitting on his seat. These are the laborers working on the land, and this is the middleman. Zamindar will order the middleman to go to the laborers, collect the revenue and give it back to him. So बीच में we have an intermediary. ठीक है? And basically this is today's time. ठीक है? मतलब not today's time. After 1947 zamindars existed. This is the scenario after 1947. But during this zamindari system, what was the scenario? This intermediary was the zamindar. During the zamindari system, this intermediary was the zamindar. This fat person is the Britisher, and these are the farmers. So during zamindari system, the Britishers were ordering zamindars to collect revenue from the farmers. Okay. Now the zamindar was being paid the salary by the Britishers, and they, whatever revenue was asked to the zamindar to take from the farmer, they were taking double that amount. Half of the amount they used to pocket for themselves. For example, the Britishers are asking them, collect 100 rupees as the revenue from the farmer. The zamindar, what he will do? He will take salary from Britisher also. And from these farmers, he would take 200 rupees. 100 he would pocket for himself. Clear ho rahi baat? Is it clear? ठीक है? So he was making double the amount from Britishers also. He was taking salary from farmers also. Now who was bearing the brunt? Who was carrying the load? The farmers over here. Even if there was drought, even if there was any climatic issue which was going on, revenue was not good, the cultivation or harvest was not proper, even then they had to take loan to pay this zamindar, or else the farmers would be thrown away from their own land. Okay, so actually the load, or the load, you can say pressure was on the ultimately on the farmers only. Now what happened? Whatever revenue was collected from the farmers, 10/11th share of that revenue was given to the zamindar. Rest of the share was given to, 10/11th share was given to the British government. Rest of the share was given to the zamindar. Rest to the zamindar. 10/11th, whatever revenue was being earned, 10/11th share Britishers would keep, and rest of the share would be given to the zamindar. What will the farmers get? They will get nothing. ठीक है, उनको क्या मिलेगा? अंगूठा. 2 टाइम की रोटी दे दे, बस वही काफी है. ठीक है, तो this was the scenario of zamindari system. The zamindars were enjoying, the Britishers were enjoying, and who was bearing all the load and the pressure and the stress? The farmers. That is why farmer suicides at that time were very high, at peak. ठीक है, because poor farmers, they had to take loan to pay off these, to give these revenues. Last part. Okay, land revenue which was being collected by the zamindars on the instruction of the Britishers. Whatever revenue was being collected, 10/11th share of that was given to the Britishers. Rest of the share was given to the zamindars, and the farmers got nothing. Another important point that you have to remember for prelims over here is, यहाँ पर you can create a box on the page, and there's a very important point that you need to write it down. Okay, what is the point? Let us understand. The point is that in which states the zamindari system was prevalent, in which state it was functional. Very important for prelims. First is West Bengal, highly functional in West Bengal. Second is Bihar. Third is Odisha. Fourth is UP, Uttar Pradesh. Then we have Andhra Pradesh and we have Madhya Pradesh. These were the major states where zamindari system was at its peak. So they can give you name of 4 states. They will ask you which one of them or which among the following are the states where zamindari system was at its peak or was prevalent. So remember, B square, that is Bihar and Bengal, OUAM.P, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. P हो गया for Pradesh. B square means Bihar, Bengal, O means Odisha. Okay, you can create a mnemonic like that and you can remember. Point clear? Let me know if you have noted it down. Then we'll discuss the issues in this system. What were the problems? Ashok is saying why farmer is growing the produce. Because they are being given roti for 2 times. They are being given a small hut to safeguard their heads in different climatic seasons, different weather. And they had no other alternative. They were living on hope. They were living ki chalo, we are getting roti to eat. We can feed our children, right? Something. जमींदार क्या करते थे? 2 वक्त की रोटी दे दी, एक छोटी सी कुटिया बनाकर दे दी, वहां रह लो. This was enough for the poor farmers. Okay, that was the reason. वरना फिर भूखे मरते, कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं था उनके पास. No option was left for the farmers. All right, so आगे बढ़ते हैं. What were the issues in this system? Let us understand. Now you have to shift yourself from your room to the interview board, because I told you in the starting of the class, in the interview they will not ask direct questions. Okay, they are not going to open up a book and ask direct questions. They will ask the impact of different things that happened in history. So this was the question which was posed to me. The question was about Zameen. They were asking about different scenarios related to land revenue, right? And different scientific technological advancements which have been done now to map a particular land in a rural area. Then they went back to history, because I had written ki I love enjoy reading history and optional is history. So they asked what were the different issues related to zamindari system, and I went completely blank because I had memorized the year. Lord Cornwallis was the person who devised this zamindari system, what happened in zamindari system, but I did not think analytically what must be the issues involved in zamindari system, right? And because of that, I went completely blank, and I had to say I need some time to think about it. I took 5 minutes to think about it, and that was my losing point. कि मतलब इतना time ले लिया, history optional है, but because analytical understanding नहीं थी, that is why I lost on marks. That मतलब मुझे पता है, I know that I lost my marks here on my analytical understanding. So I don't want you to commit the same mistake. Whatever acts or policies you are studying, understand the impact of those policies and act. Okay, don't cram it or rectify it blindly. They will ask you only the impact, nothing else. So here also, zamindari system, what were the issues involved in zamindari system? The issues involved were threefold. This is the correct answer that you should give in the interview board. Very strategically, pragmatically, you have to answer. There were threefold issues, or you can say 3 people, or 3 you can say platforms, or terms are involved in the issues related to zamindari system. What are these 3 people who are involved? First is the cultivator who is involved, the farmer. Okay. Second is the zamindar who is involved. And third is obviously the fat person, the Britisher who is involved. Okay. So British, or you can say company, is involved. These are the 3 terms which are involved in the issue of zamindari system. how they are involved. देखो cultivator का तो we know, the farmer बेचारा, the poor farmer, what he had to do, you can write over here. Cultivator, what was the problem which was faced by the cultivator? First was that the rent paid to zamindar was very high. This is Z, zamindar. Rent paid to zamindar was very high. Second, his right on the land was not secure. I told you in the starting only, in the starting of the flowchart, the right of the cultivator on the land was not fixed. So his right on land was not secure. Third, he had to take loans. He had to take loans to pay rent. Okay, or to pay revenue sometimes. Climate was not favorable, or the season was not favorable, the weather was not favorable, and the zamindar used to stand on his head ki bhai, where's my revenue? He had to take loan to pay off the revenue, varna he would be thrown off, or else he would be thrown off from the land. These were the three problems or issues faced by the cultivator. Now coming on to the second person, that is the zamindar. Now what is the problem involving the zamindar? So first problem was that the revenue which was fixed, Why? Because of permanent settlement system, it was fixed, and it was so high. Revenue which was fixed was so high that it was difficult. It was difficult for zamindars to pay, because to extract money from the farmer or the cultivator became difficult because revenue was so high. And if sometimes zamindar, for example, let's say I am the zamindar and I saw the cultivator, he's very poor, very thin, he's crying, Sahib, we don't have the money to pay you, the climate was not good, harvest did not happen properly, so how can you pay, how can we pay you, please have mercy, please have mercy. And if I have a meltdown, emotional meltdown, it would be difficult for me to collect revenue from that poor farmer. But the Britisher, he has no mercy, he's not going to show any mercy on me, right? Now it is becoming difficult for me to pay him the rent from my own wealth or treasury, right? So for zamindar also, not all zamindars were bad. Okay, some zamindars had emotional meltdown, and revenue which was fixed by Britishers were very high, because of which zamindar also had difficulty to pay the revenue to the Britishers. And another important point in this zamindari system is, write it down, asterisk बना लो, इस तरीके से एक स्टार बना लो, those who failed to pay lost their zamindari. So Britishers were not very friendly with the zamindars also. They said, if you are going to fail to pay us the revenue, we will snatch away the zamindari from you, the right to own a land from you. We will snatch away your position, your fame, your power, and your name. Okay, that was the issue that the zamindar was facing. Now you must be wondering, ma'am, what is the issue that the company is facing? Company ke to profit hi hai, company is enjoying the profit, right? But the company was also facing this issue. If there was bad climate, bad weather, bad season, cultivation hua hi nahi hai, the crops have failed miserably. Pesticide and all these things they are now, but at that time there were no pesticides or insecticides, right? Proper technology was not there, proper know-how was not there. If the cultivation is failing, the zamindar is not able to, not just one zamindar, majority zamindars are not able to pay you the revenue. Obviously, you are also running into losses. How will they pay you, right? If there is no proper weather or climate. So they were also running into losses because of lack of technology, agricultural technology or know-how. Okay, so revenue which was settled in zamindari system was fixed. That was the reason why they were also facing losses. So for company there was monetary losses, for cultivator there was emotional loss, physical loss, and mental loss. For zamindar there was financial loss and emotional loss to some extent. These were the issues. So in this answer, did you notice one thing? We are taking into account the emotional loss also. If you are giving these kind of answers, if you are more on the emotional side, they are going to respect you more, the interview board. They just want to see if you are human enough to understand the basic problems of a person. Okay? They are going to judge you not on the basis of the books that you have crammed, but on the basis of the emotions that you have. Okay, on the basis of logic and emotions that you are using in a balanced way. In this answer, I have used emotions also and practical reasons, logic also in a very balanced way. ठीक है, ऐसे ही आपको आंसर देना इन द इंटरव्यू बोर्ड. रिमेंबर, if you are going to show off your knowledge, they are not going to like it. If you are going to be on emotional front more, they are going to enjoy asking you more questions. And when they enjoy asking you more questions, just trust me, they are going to pass you. They are going to give you flying marks. You are going to pass with flying colors. ठीक है, तो हमेशा याद रखना, इमोशनल अपना साइड थोड़ा सा लेकर चलना, बिकॉज दे हैव ऑलरेडी जज्ड योर नॉलेज इन प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस. If you have cleared these two steps now, you are knowledgeable. They are in the interview, they are going to check your personality only. And an administrative officer is going to work in the rural area, with the people he is going to work, right? For the people he is going to work. So easily they will test your emotional intelligence. Okay? Coming on to the Ryotwari system. Ryotwari system पे आ जाते हैं. Now when we talk about Ryotwari system over here, in the Ryotwari system, what is the meaning of Ryot? Ryot का मतलब क्या होता है? It means individual cultivator. It means individual cultivator. They asked me this question also. They asked me to name some of the land revenue systems or the policies which were formulated by the Britishers. I gave them the name of the three major, land revenue systems: Ryotwari, Mahalwari, etc. Then they asked me, okay, Arpita, tell us what is Ryot in Ryotwari. ठीक है, तो Ryot means individual cultivator. That is the meaning of Ryot. But when we study for pre and mains, we don't focus on these little things. ठीक है, we just study main topics ki who formulated this policy, in which year it came, objectives, this and that. So these little things are very useful. They are going to ask you that also. मतलब they can ask you, it depends on your luck also. So individual cultivator हो गया. Now in Ryotwari system, write it down. It was first introduced in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu में पहली बार इसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया. And it was devised by or formulated by Captain Alexander Reed and Sir Thomas Munro. Now this system was devised by, I have not written devised in, devised by. Abhi tak this was just a plan which was created by two Britishers, Captain Alexander Reed and Sir Thomas Munro. Together they formulated this system. But in India, write it down, in India, this system was introduced by Sir Thomas Munro. इंडिया में ये सिस्टम सर थॉमस मुनरो ने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है. ठीक है, ही वॉज द गवर्नर ऑफ मैड्रास फ्रॉम 1819 to 26, and during his governorship he introduced this system of Ryotwari in India. ठीक है, so devised by, formulated by two people, Captain Alexander Reed and Sir Thomas Munro. In India, introduced by Sir Thomas Munro. So in UPSC, they will be very clever in asking this question. They will write, in India, Ryotwari system was devised or was formulated by, they will give you 4 options with the name of 2 people, right? In each option, 2 people will be involved. So in that case, the answer would be Captain Alexander Reed and Sir Thomas Munro. But if they ask, in India, Ryotwari system was introduced by, it is only Sir Thomas Munro. Okay, they will give you the option of Captain Alexander Reed also. Don't click on that option. Sir Thomas Munro will be the answer if they ask in India. But if in India is not involved, then they will be giving you the name of 2 people, or if only Captain Alexander Reed is given, you have to click on Captain Alexander Reed. Okay, point clear ho gaya? Now, when we talk about Ryotwari system, I told you in Zamindari system, there was an intermediary involved. And the intermediary was, tell me in the comment section. This is a fat person, these are poor farmers. There is an intermediary in between. Intermediary was the Zamindar, right? Very good, Vatsalya. Zamindar was the intermediary. Okay, Zamindar was the intermediary in Zamindari system. Fat person, Britisher, Then here there is an intermediary and these are the farmers. On the permission of Britisher, the zamindar would take revenue from the farmer and pay it back to the Britisher. But in Ryotwari system, they basically improved the land revenue system. Ryotwari system, what did the Britisher do? The land revenue in this system was paid by farmers directly to the state. There was no intermediary, because previously the Britishers, they were having losses. Why? Because the intermediary, that is a zamindar, used to pocket some of the amount of land revenue with himself, right? So that is why what they thought, this time we are not going to make any third party or intermediary. Directly we are going to do the collections. So land revenue will be directly paid to us by the farmers only. And the individual cultivator was known as Ryot. That is why the name is Ryotwari system. When we talk about Ryot over here, what were the rights that the Ryot, that is the individual cultivator, had? He had full rights. Previously, the farmer had no rights. Remember it. They can ask you the comparison also. Previously, the farmer had no right. But now the Ryot, the individual cultivator, had full rights for what? For the sale, the transfer, TF means transfer, and second, leasing. Sorry, third, leasing of what? Of land. Okay, of land. Ryot had full rights for sale, transfer, leasing of land. Are you enjoying the flowcharts? Let me know in the comment section. This is how you have to make flowcharts for every subject that you are studying. Polity mein flowcharts are going to help you a lot in revision. So make sure in polity you make flowcharts. Understand anything that you are reading through flowcharts only. So Ryot had full rights for sale, transfer, leasing of land. Tell me in the comment section, patapat se, in which state the Ryotwari system was first introduced? कौन से स्टेट में Ryotwari system को सबसे पहली बार इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था? तमिलनाडु. Very good. Now tell me in the comment section, in India, who introduced Ryotwari system? In India. Yes, very good. Munro, very good. Ryotwari system was the brainchild of Alexander Reed and Munro. Very good, Ashok. Reed and Munro. Both. Okay? The brainchild, the idea was of Reed and Munro. In India, it was introduced by Munro. Okay? Very good. Munro was the governor of, when he introduced Ryotwari system, he was the governor of Madras. Very good. Yes, he was the governor of Vatsalya. Rishabh, very good. Ishwar, very good. Ashok, very good. Yes, Madras. Very good, Amritansh. ठीक है, यहाँ तक पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया सभी को? All right, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now the most important point for prelims, it was prevalent in which states? So this system was prevalent in Tamil Nadu. First, obviously Tamil Nadu. Then Maharashtra. Then Berar. Then we have East Punjab. Then we have Coorg and Assam. These were the states in which this system was very famous, very prevalent. Okay? So basically, the government directly, had a deal with the farmers to take the revenue, and the Ryots, that is the cultivators, the farmers had full rights to sell, transfer or lease their land. Okay? Or even to acquire new land for cultivation. यहाँ तक point clear हो गया? But there are issues involved here also. यहाँ पर भी issues हैं जो involved हैं. So what are the issues which are involved? Every system you have to understand and study the issues. ठीक है? कोई भी system हो, आपको issues पढ़ने ही पढ़ने हैं. ठीक है? 1820 अशोक. ठीक है? Exact year मैं आपको बता दूंगी, but it was around 1820 that Ryotwari system was introduced. ठीक है? Because 1820 के around Munro had firm power. ठीक है? In Madras. Yes, it was better than zamindari system and improved the version, but it also had issues. ठीक है? इसमें भी issues थे. क्या issues थे? Tell me in the comment section. In zamindari system, 3 people were involved which had issues. Who were the 3 people? Who were the 3 people who had issues in zamindari system? Amritansh, British zamindar cultivator. Ashok, English zamindar farmers. Vatsalya, farmer zamindar company. Shivakant, cultivator zamindar and Britishers. Very good. But in this Ryotwari system, issues were twofold. ठीक है, दो तरीके के issues थे. First issue was that it gave power to the subordinate revenue officials. What were the, how were the powers misused? Because their activities were inadequately supervised. Okay. What is this point, ma'am? Subordinate revenue officials, why are they coming into picture? If you pay tax to the government, you directly pay tax to the government, right? But there are IRS officers in between, है ना, होते हैं ना. You do not go to Prime Minister Modi or Nirmala Sitharaman ji to pay your taxes. If you are defaulting on your taxes, you are not answerable to the Prime Minister directly. You go to the IRS, right? My father was a chartered accountant. So whatever taxes he used to submit on behalf of the clients, there were files that were stuck in the IRS officer's office because of some discrepancies or flaws. So he had to take the case directly to the IRS. My father used to represent the cases in the office of IRS. So Prime Minister के पास directly नहीं जाते. If the British government is directly taking money from you or from the farmer, that does not mean you are going to step on the house of the supreme leader of the Britain government and you are going to pay them the revenue. No, they will appoint officers, revenue officers. For example, in today's time it is the IRS. At that time they were subordinate revenue officials. The farmers used to go to the subordinate revenue official, pay their part of revenue and come back. So these subordinate revenue officials, their activities were inadequately supervised. This was a new system for the Britishers also, for us also. So the Britishers appointed these revenue officials thinking that they will do their job properly. They not like zamindars. They would not make extra corrupt money. They would follow our orders and do their job properly. But the subordinate revenue officials क्या करते थे? When you go to a government office, what happens? There is delay, red tapeism, etc. Same thing happened here also. हाँ आज नहीं कल आना. Don't come today, come tomorrow. After lunch we'll do this. After break we'll do this. These kind of delays were happening. Why? Because these subordinate revenue officials, their activities were not being supervised. It was a new system. The Britishers appointed these officials, but there was no management for these officers. There was no proper management which was being done by the Britishers for these officials. Okay, so there was delay in collection of rent or delay in collection of revenue. Okay, so first was that issue. Second issue was that this system was dominated by Mahajans and money lenders. You are giving full right to the farmers directly, the cultivators. Some of the cultivators are still under zamindars. They are still working on the land of zamindars or Mahajans. Zamindars were also known as Mahajans. Okay. Some of the farmers already had loans because of the previous system of zamindari. Zamindari system, you are abolishing it, you are bringing in Ryotwari system, but the impact of zamindari system is still prevalent now. ऐसा तो नहीं होता कि आज हमने एक पॉलिसी हटाई कल सब कुछ सही हो जाएगा. Demonetization. Now you are introducing demonetization. After a year, the demonetization is getting blurry, but the impact is still there, right? Many people are dealing still with the impact of issue of or the effect of demonetization. Same thing happened. Zamindari system was removed, but again the impact was still being there in the society. The farmers already had taken loan during the zamindari system, which still they were repaying back. They had taken loan from these money lenders and Mahajans, and these money lenders and Mahajans were dominating these poor farmers by controlling their land. They were exploiting the cultivators. They were evicting these cultivators from their own land in case of loan default. अगर loan default हो रहा था, if there was any loan default, the cultivators were being threatened by these Mahajans and money lenders that will throw you off from this land. But this issue was not being addressed by Britishers. Okay, they thought this new system we have introduced, now everything is solved. But on ground, nothing was solved. These were the two issues in the Ryotwari system. Clear everyone? Let me know in the comment section. अगर clear है तो जल्दी बताओ. Okay. But there was only one advantage. Can you explain to me what is that advantage? There is one advantage in this system. Yes, Amritansh, very good. Advantage is elimination of middlemen or intermediary, which was there in Zamindari system. There was no middleman. So if they ask you, they do not ask you the issue, but they ask you one advantage of Ryotwari system, you will get baffled, right? What is this? The Ryotwari system is not good in itself. Ashok, yes, in today's scenario, bankers become the middlemen. But at that time, zamindars, yes, they were pseudo bankers, you can say, right? They became the middlemen. Advantage was elimination of middlemen. Directly you were going to the cultivator to take the revenue. ठीक है, point clear हो गया? Last system यहाँ पर आ जाता है हमारा माहलवारी system. Last is today's class, last system, माहलवारी system. Now you will all doze off after the class. सब यहीं पर ही सो जाएंगे. ठीक है, माहलवारी सिस्टम में आता है आपका माहल्स. माहल्स क्या होते हैं? रेवतवारी में वी हैड रेवत. नाउ इन माहलवारी वी हैव माहल्स. व्हाट इज महल? देखो, महल इज अ विलेज. ठीक है, यू आर टेकिंग अ विलेज, entire village, in an area there are different villages. These are different villages in a particular area. ठीक है, and these different small villages you are combining them together. ठीक है, and this entire village area consisting of small talukas, small villages, you are converting them into one unit for administration purpose. ठीक है, one unit. That one bigger unit is known as mahal. ठीक है, for administration purpose you are an IAS officer. ठीक है, where you are posted there are different villages. What you are doing, you are grouping 10 villages together. ठीक है, 10 villages, and these 10 villages, each unit will be known as mahal for better administrative purpose. So you can say there are 4 mahals under my jurisdiction. ठीक है, there are 4 mahals under my jurisdiction. One mahal has 10 villages. One mahal has 10 villages. So that it would become easy for you to administrate, right? Varna to there are so many villages, 40, 50 villages in your area, you will become mad. For administrative purpose, you are clubbing 10 villages together, converting them into one unit, one mahal. So you have 4 mahals. That's it. Okay? It becomes easy to administrate. It becomes easy to implement the policies. So Mahalwari system was introduced in 1822 by Holt Mackenzie, and it was introduced in Uttar Pradesh. At that time, Uttar Pradesh, basically some part of Uttar Pradesh was known as northwestern provinces. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर in Uttar Pradesh 1822 Holt Mackenzie introduces Mahalwari system. Point clear यहाँ तक? Let me know in the comment section if the point is clear. Then we'll move forward. So in Mahalwari system, land revenue, how land revenue was collected? It was collected from farmers by village headmen, who the sarpanch. Okay, the sarpanch, headman means the sarpanch, the head of the village. You can write it down. Sarpanch also the head of the village, on behalf of whole village. On behalf of whole village. Write it down. Not zamindar. Not on the behalf of zamindar. On the behalf of every village. And the entire village was converted into one bigger unit known as mahal. जिसको हम बोलते थे महल. So every person in the village agreed that this is the amount that we'll give to the sarpanch. The sarpanch used to collect the amount from the mahal and pay it to the Britisher. ठीक है, point clear? There was no zamindar. The sarpanch on behalf of the village used to pay the revenue to the Britisher. So here also, is middleman involved? No. Middleman is not involved because Sarpanch is a part of villagers only. He is representing the villages. How can he be the third person, right? He is the village only. Consider the Sarpanch as the village only. यहाँ तक point clear हो गया तो जल्दी से बता दीजिए मुझे. Okay, so Holt Mackenzie, he devised this particular Malwari system in 1822, which was introduced in India. Okay, which was brought in India. Holt Mackenzie planned it, brought, different governors introduced or implemented it in India. For example, you as an IAS or IFS or IRS officer, you plan a policy, then through your subordinate officials, it will be implemented in that particular area. Same thing happened here. Okay, the greater officer was Holt Mackenzie, who ordered that this particular policy should be implemented, and the subordinate officials implemented it. Yahan tak point clear? But in Agra and in Awadh, they have asked these questions in prelims. So isliye these points are important. In Agra and Awadh, this policy was popularized by Lord William Bentinck. Write it down. Lord William Bentinck. He popularized this policy in Agra and Awadh, which was devised by Holt Mackenzie. Okay? Later, this policy was also implemented in Madhya Pradesh and Punjab. So in Madhya Pradesh and Punjab also this policy came. Basically, 4 particular states you have to remember: Agra, Awadh, Punjab, and Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. These are the 4 important states that you have to remember when it comes to Mahalwari system. However, they haven't asked questions about Mahalwari system recently, but they can. We have to be prepared. Okay, but there are issues involved in Mahalwari system also. In every system there are issues. Same thing happens in Mahalwari system. So what are the issues which are involved? Let us understand that. Issues kya hai jo involved hai isme? First issue, Britishers were driven by greed. They wanted more and more money to be extracted from India. So this system was driven by the desire to increase the income from land, and for that the Britishers, what they did, they fixed too high a revenue demand, because they wanted to extract as much money they can from the lands of India. What they did, they fixed very high revenue demand. And here, the peasants or the farmers, they were unable to pay. The farmers or the peasants, they were unable to pay. Again, they were not looking into the ability of the person to pay the revenue. They were implementing changes in the policy, but not working on the ground level. This is how you as an administrator has to think. Whatever policy you are bringing for the people, try to think from the perspective of the poor person also. Is this policy going to help them? Any tax regime as an IRS officer, if you are implementing, make sure that you understand the type of people living in your district. Will they be able to handle the pressure of that new policy that you are implementing? Okay, not for the sake of paper, for the sake of humans, you have to implement the policy. We are going to be officers. Okay? Of the people, for the people, by the people. ये याद रखना है हमेशा. Because you are going to be the policy formulators, not these ministers. You are going to advise these ministers, sir, this is the policy according to the population of your district. We should, implement it. You have to make sure that the minister understands, because the minister would look into his desire to increase his income, right or wrong. You all know it. We cannot deny the fact. What is the minister doing? He is sitting and he wants to just increase his income. Hardly very few ministers are there who are not focusing on their income, focusing on the people. The minister will order you for himself only, for his desires only. He is going to order you at 2 at night. Get up and do this. Get up and implement this. Okay? Just like demonetization. Overnight hua tha na demonetization. Raghuram Rajan said ki I warned Prime Minister Modi that this is not going to work. He did not listen to me. I'm going to tell you this. Please, make this an impression in your mind. You are going to work for the people. ठीक है? So obviously, जब भी आप policy formulate करो, लोगों के बारे में सोचना है वो कैसे करेंगे. Here the Britishers were not thinking about the people. They were just trying to bring up new policies, new formulations not thinking if the peasants would be able to pay or not. This is the first issue. Second, because of that, the ryots, they fled towards the countryside. They said, go to help this agriculture and this farming, right? We are going to work as laborers or construction workers at the countryside. We are not going to work as agriculturists because there is no profit in agriculture now. These Britishers are going to loot us. They are going to kill us or eat us. So they were fleeing towards the countryside. This is not led, this is side, countryside. And because of that, the villages, they became deserted. Now the villages are getting deserted. There is no proper agriculture. Obviously, the economy of the country will go down. Agriculture is the pillar of the economy, right? It would go down. The villagers are, they are running away from their lands, from agriculture, from farming, etc., because of the high revenue that was fixed on the cultivation, on the harvest. Okay, point clear yahan tak? This was the Malwari system and the issues which were related to Malwari system. Let me know if the points are clear. यहाँ तक points clear है तो फटाफट से मुझे एक thumbs up भेज दो, फटाफट से thumbs up or yes. All right, everybody understood? Okay. अब किसी को गाली वाली देनी है कि इतना लेट क्यों कर दिया आज? If you want to abuse me, ma'am, it's 11 and we are studying history and we are sleepy right now. So you can just abuse me on my face. मन में मत बोलना, ठीक है? All right. So did you enjoy the class? 90% I know you were sleeping. 10% did you enjoy or not? This is my first time that I'm taking classes on Zoom. I've taken live classes on Unacademy, but first time on Zoom, I'm connecting with 15, 16 students, right? On Unacademy, what used to happen? There were 100 students, 200 students. I never interacted with them, right? I just taught and I was done with my job. But here I'm interacting personally. This is my first time also. So I just want you all to stay awake and to be interested in history. Amritansh is saying fully awake with 80% understanding. 20% of the time I was sleeping. Okay. So next time I'll be taking classes from 6 p.m. Okay? 6 to 7:30 or 8. Okay? Because I know at 8:30 and 10:30, you guys are either hungry or sleepy. I can see your faces. Okay? So now we are wrapping up the session. 11 हो गए हैं. थोड़ा सा revise करना. Just revise a little bit and sleep. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. there will be a question paper which will be posted on the Telegram group. Okay? And tonight before sleeping, click a picture of one of the flowcharts that you have created and post it on the Telegram group so that I can see how you are taking notes. Okay? 10 a.m. tomorrow test. Submit the test till 10 p.m. You have the entire day. Okay? 2 mains related questions will be there and 10 prelims related questions, PYQs would be there. And class at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Okay? Good night, everyone. Bye.